Hey, this is Tish Griffin here with Family Credit Management, and I'm coming to you as your certified credit counselor to answer any questions, problems, concerns, any issues that you may have with debt. And if you need further help, there is help out there. I want you guys to go to Family Credit's website at familycredit.org or reach out to a counselor. That's right. You can talk to a counselor live at 800-994-3328. And I want you to do this because it is so amazing to have a resource that's available that can offer you true information, that can offer you information that pertains to your situation directly, because guess what? All of our situations are unique. We're all different. So what may fit me may not fit you, but there's only one way to find out. I need you guys to call. Family Credit's a great resource and you can find the help that you are seeking. So today I've got some questions that have been asked from some consumers. We're going to answer those and then we're going to get into our topic today, which is a lot of people are saying, hey, should I rent or should I buy? I hear that there's not many homes out there. So what if I do choose to rent? We're going to talk about that as well. So first, for my few questions that I've got from some consumers, we talk about credit all the time. So a lot of people are asking, number one question is, does delinquent info always stay on your credit report? And here's the deal with that. Your credit report stays with you throughout your life. It changes as you change. That's right, it really does. So when you're thinking about your score changing as your life changing, that stuff is there for maybe 10 years from the date something went bad, or 10 years, up to 10 years for delinquent or bad or derogatory information. And it could be there indefinitely for positive information. Now, sometimes if an account is old, you know you've had it, sometimes the creditor gets tired of reporting that information. So it may look a little stagnant, but that information is still there and is still available. Now, if you have something that happened that is just derogatory, it's bringing your score down, it's possible for you to get that information off of your credit report if you do just a little bit of diligence, a little bit of work. But keep in mind that even though that information is on your report, and again, is there for years and years and years, your score, your actual credit score, the thing that people use to decide whether they want to give you credit or whether you're going to get a loan or further financing or get an apartment or rent, your actual score only looks at the last 2 years worth of history. So that means even though you may have some bad information there from 5 years ago, do we really care about it? Not as much as you think, because the score, again, only looks at the last 24 months worth of history. So if you are thinking about, well, I've got this stuff on my report, it's been years and years and years, but it's still here. And my score is still low. And you're telling me it looks at the last 24 months worth of history? What's going on? Think about it this way. If I'm telling you that your score looks at the last 24 months of what you have done and your score has not gotten any better, that means you need to do something to make it better. It's all in what you do now. So if you've got some bad information, some things going on that's affecting your credit, and you take the time to sit down and see what it is. It might just be one account. It might just be something really small that's throwing your numbers off, but you don't know until you sit down and look at it. So yeah, take a look at your report and look at your score, and they will give you factors when you pull up your score. Those factors are going to tell you what's made up or what your score is looking at. Now, here's the thing. Take it for what it is. It is not the Bible. So they may give you 5 factors that say maybe like your history isn't long enough, or your debt to income ratio, like something's there, or the amount of delinquency on your report is affecting your score, or your loans are too new. And you may say, well, I don't even have any delinquencies on my report. Why would it tell me that? Your report has to give you reasons for everything. So there's a system that will just scroll out the different reasons that affect your score. Excuse me. There are different reasons that affect your score, and you decide for you how much it applies to your situation. If you know you have no delinquent accounts on there, but that's all that they can tell you, then okay, it may not be at all because they have to tell you something. And that's just one that came up on the roll. That's why I say you have to take it for what you want as far as if it applies to you. Now, if that comes up and you know you've got some bad marks on there, then you know, okay, that does apply to me. That is for me. And you work to make things better. You work to make it different just for you. Everybody's situation is unique. Everybody's situation is different. So my score is not going to look like yours and vice versa. We all may have the same numbers, but guess what? The makeup, the reasoning of our scores, the amount of accounts that we have will differ. So it's important for you to keep an eye on your report and your score. Again, things stay on your report for up to 10 years. And most collection accounts stay from 7 years from the date it went bad. So the date of last activity or the date of delinquency, 7 years from that date. That's how long that item is going to be on your report. But what you have to do is, even though that's there, you've got to get enough positives to counteract whatever negative may be there. So does that mean getting a new credit card? If you can handle it responsibly, make sure that you're staying under that credit limit and go at it just like that. So keep that in mind. Your score changes, your life changes, but it's up to you to decide what your score will look like. And yeah, we all go through things. We're going to talk about some things in a little bit, but we all go through things that may say, hey, I can't pay my creditors this month. I can't pay my credit cards. If I have to decide whether between paying my rent or paying my credit cards, guess what? Credit cards are going to have to wait. So you may fall behind on certain things. You may have collections pop up on there, but we know to take small steps, and once we're able to get things under control, now we can start that plan of attack and getting all those things taken care of, getting them off of our reports, getting them updated to good status, whatever we need to do. If you need some help with that, reach out to a certified credit counselor at Family Credit at familycredit.org or call and talk with a counselor at 800-994-3328. Yes, you will get the help that you need, but you've got to look for it. You got to ask. Resources are out there and they're available. So that's what I want to bring to you. Now, got a lot of people asking, hey, there's so much fear in the market. I hear that rates are up. I hear that rates are high. I don't really know how that affects me, but I want to wait till rates go back down before I even think about getting a home. I don't know if I should rent. I don't know if I should buy something. What should I do? And honestly, if you are in the situation where you need to find another place to live, or you're getting out there on your own for the first time, and you want to think about, man, how can I do this? It's okay whether you decide to rent or whether you decide to buy, but you need to make sure that you are together. We've talked for the past few shows about how to buy a home, but I wanted to talk to you today on what renters or what landlords are looking for and what renters are going through. Did you guys know that 33% of Americans actually are renters? And when you think about that, that's a good portion. You got some that don't even pay for things. You've got kids that are still at home. You got people that are living with family. Yes, but 30% of actual Americans are renters. So there's a huge market for renters. So you want to make sure that you look the best, that you stand out when you go to apply for a home. And in some cases, a lot of times, especially if you haven't done your homework, a lot of times it's easier for you to buy a home than it is to rent one. So what is it that landlords are actually looking at? Now, landlords aren't looking for perfect scores, even private landlords, and not all landlords know what goes into the score, what the score means. All they are looking for is stability. They're looking for stability in your credit, in your employment history, in your income, in your bank account. That's what they're looking for. So a lot of property managers or facilities that handle properties for landlords, they will just tell you straight out, we're looking at your credit score. Most of our tenants have a 700 score. So now you know what you need to work towards. But just so you know, rule of thumb, most landlords will rent to you if your score is about a 620 or above. Don't like going lower than a 620 because, again, that shows that you don't know how to handle your finances, shows that you can be desperate. Does that mean that you can't find a place to rent? That's not what I'm saying, but it does mean that you may have to work for it a little bit harder than everyone else. How do you avoid that? Let's take a look at your finances, look at your credit right now. Let's look at things and see what you need to do before it comes time for you to actually apply. If you're looking or thinking or knowing that your lease is up, maybe your lease is up this summer or later on in the year, or maybe you're even thinking about, hey, I've lived in this place for a few years. I want something different. Next year, I'm going to do something different. I want to get out there and find someplace else to live, or I want my own home. Look at what your score is now. Take small steps each and every single month to make things a little bit better. And that's about having your plan, working your plan, and then seeing what we can do to make things better for you. Again, Personal Finance Made Easy is available on Family Credit's website. If you go to the link familycredit.org, or you call a counselor and you can request that. It will help you get your budget under control, know what you can afford, and help get your credit back on track too. So we're thinking about a score. We want our score to be about 700 if possible, higher than 620. And again, some cases where they are renting at a score that's lower. Most luxury rentals, though, if you're looking for a luxury type rental, they do want your score to be about a 700. The next thing, not only are they looking at your credit, we'll talk about that in a little bit, because we talked about the credit score, we're going to talk about the actual credit. The next thing that they may do is pull a background check on you. More and more places are looking at or pulling your criminal background history. And you may say, why would my landlord want to know that? What's going on? They shouldn't even need to know that information. I don't want them to discriminate against me. I don't want them to find out that I have a history. But here's the thing. If you do have a history, if you do have something that's showing up, if there's some delinquencies that's showing up, it's better for you to give that information up front and tell them about it than for them to have to find out. Because when they put, like, looking at your criminal background history, what are they looking for? Are they looking to see if you went to jail? Maybe, but what they're really looking for is to see if you have any evictions. If there's anything going through the court system that says that you and the landlord were on your outs. They may be looking at your credit report, looking for collections to say if you own a property management company, if you own a debt for past rent. These are things that they're looking for. It's not necessarily about whether you've been convicted or if you've got a background or if someone's trying to sue you. It's just about, will they be able to get their rent from you? If something were to happen, does your history show that you pay rent? Does it show that you don't treat your landlord with respect? And I'm not saying that you do or don't, but these are the things that they look for. So they're loaning their property to you. They want to make sure that you're going to be respectful towards it, that you're going to love it as much as they do. In a lot of these cases, these are what people are looking for. So you want to make sure that you're on track, that if there's something there, you sit down and you do some extra work. You may say, hey, this is what's going on with me. This is on my background. I've had this issue here. I did have a run-in with a previous landlord, and here's why. This is what I did to resolve it. And they may have mercy on you. You never know. You may just be required to pay extra security deposit, an extra month's rent. You never know unless you ask. So don't discount yourself. Don't say, I can't do this. I can't make this happen because of my past, and here's why. Nope. Time out for all of that. You're going to sit down and look at what are the positives that you can bring out now. And that's what's going to make a difference for you. If you know you've got a lower score again, you want to try and let's see what we can do to get that up. We know that they will rent to you if your score is a 620 or so. They may even do it as less. But look on your credit report, because guess what they're scrubbing that report for? Looking for property management companies, looking for collections that are due to utility bills. That's another one. If you're owing Comcast, ComEd, Nicor, People's Gas, if those are showing up on your credit reports, those are the debts that you do want to try and tackle ahead of time before you get in a situation of filling out a rental application, right? You want to make sure, hey, I know I need to get a new place next year, but I just got this Comcast bill, or I still owe Verizon, or, I've got all of this debt here, my old light bill, People's Gas. Remember, People's, like they like to put something on your report even when you go delinquent. Then when you're okay to take it off, make sure they take it off. You want to get yourself together and know, but ahead of time. Pull that report ahead of time, 6 months ahead of time. Again, going back to the general rule of thumb, 6 months before you're looking to get anything, pull your report, go over it with a fine-tooth comb, and then talk to a credit counselor and say, okay, what do I need to do to make this better? And set up some alerts too. Know that if something were to come up on your credit report, you know how to take care of it, that you know you have to take care of it. You don't want to be unaware. So if you're pulling your report 6 months, 3 months from now, pull it again, just to make sure that things are in good standing. You want to make sure that you will be approved. Last thing you want to do is put in that application and have them turn you down and not know why. If you know you owe a previous landlord, if you know you have been, you've gone to court because you owe a landlord, there's a judgment being placed, there's an eviction on your record. Okay, let's look at what we can do to make things better. And there may be a good reason for that, but no one will know unless you tell them. So there is a way for you to also make a statement on your credit report. Be sure that you date it. Yes, you can add your own consumer statement to your credit report, which will help strengthen your situation. So that way, when that landlord or when they do the background check, and the facilitator pulls your report, they will see, oh yeah, she has an eviction on, she has a past bill from a previous landlord, and it looks like it was like 2 years ago, but it may have happened 10 years ago. That landlord just didn't place it on there till just now. See what I mean? This is why you want to go ahead. You want to pull your reports ahead of time. You want to know what you're getting yourselves into, and you want to do the due diligence and the work. The next thing that they are looking for, landlords are looking to know that they will get their money. That's right. They want to get rent. The only way that they, in their minds, can make sure that that's going to happen is if they know you have steady employment. Yes, they want to see that the money is coming in. They will ask you for your paycheck stubs. They will also take it a step further, and they may verify that you work where you say you work, that you work the hours that you say you're going to work, and that you get pay stubs. So they may ask for multiple pay stubs, and that's part of their process. Again, a lot of places like to see that you've worked at the same employer for the past 2 to 3 years. They love to see that. That means that you are stable. They know that most likely if something were to happen, you would still be able to pay rent. So also keep that in mind. And you may say, well, how do they determine if I make enough rent? Or is it just because let's say they're asking for $1,500 a month, right? If they're asking for $1,500 a month rent, you need to show that you have the ability to bring in at least $4,500, meaning that whatever the rent that they are asking, you need to make sure that you can bring in at least 2.5 to 3 times more than whatever that rent is. If they want $2,000 a month, they need to see that your household brings in $6,000 a month. They want to make sure that they can get their rent. If you can't show that, then they're not going to give you that place. So you have to prove your credibility. And it starts by looking at your employment history and making sure that they can verify your income, that you've got those paycheck stubs, and that you've got great history with the likelihood of your employer continuing to employ you so that you can continue to get the amount of money that you need to afford the rent. We've always talked about with home ownership, you want to make sure that you can afford that monthly payment. Same thing for renting. And also with renting, you also keep in mind that your landlord at the end of their term, whatever amount you may sign for, 6-month lease, 12-month lease, 15 or 18-month lease with them, at the end of their term, they reserve the right to increase the amount of rent. And so they want to know that you can afford that as well. So that's why it's always great to make sure that you've got all of this stuff planned out up front. You know your credit score, you know what your background looks like, you're making them aware of any problems or any issues that you may have, and that you've got your credit together. Again, trying to go over that 620, but what's really important is if there's anything related to housing expenses on your credit report, be it, again, you owe a property management company, red flag. You owe NICOR on your credit report, red flag. Comcast even, red flag. Even sometimes when they can see you owe T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T for cellular bills, it still may be considered a red flag to them. So get that taken care of first. Don't wait till the last minute. You want to make sure that you've got it together, you've got that answer, and before you even apply, you know, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to get this apartment. Why? Because I've got my stuff together. I've got everything together. And then they want to make sure that you will be respectful to their property, take care of it, and if there are any issues, let them know. That if there are issues, if they have issues with you, you want to be able to talk with them about it. And if you and your landlord come to a disagreement, there are rights that you have as a tenant that you can discuss. If you have questions about that, you can call 311 in the Chicagoland area, get some more information about your landlord-tenant rights. You can also go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's website, or consumerfinance.gov. Find out some more information there about what rights you have as a consumer, as a tenant, and what protections you have against your landlord. Again, speaking of protection, the best thing that you can do for yourself if you are looking to rent is to make sure you have renter's insurance. With renter's insurance, this is a way for you to protect yourself if there was something that happened in the home or around the home. Yes, it's not your home, but let's say that there was a fire. You lost everything in that home. The landlord can't not necessarily replace everything for you. It's your responsibility to make sure, again, you want to have your finances in order. Financial responsibility, it does include insurance or proper insurance. So you want to look at renter's insurance. And you also want to make an itemized list of everything of value that you have in your home or in someone else's home. And you want to keep that in a safe place as well. Fire safe place, you may look at doing a safe deposit box, fireproof safe in your home, whatever that may be. You want to have your renter's insurance information there too. Did I tell you personal finance made easy? Guess what? There's a section for you to write all of that down as well. You can fill out this book and you come across that inventory section of everything that you own, everything that is of value. Put it in here, stick this in the safe. That's right. You've got it all there listed because you will need to prove in the event of an emergency, of something happening. And especially, we don't know what's going to happen nowadays with our weather being so crazy, with things happening in the world. You want to make sure that you are protected. Renter's insurance is the best way for you to do that. If you've got any questions about anything that we've talked about here, feel free to reach out to a counselor at Family Credit by going online to the website at familycredit.org or calling 800-994-3328. So we've talked about a lot of different things that we need to look out for with trying to rent or trying to determine whether you should rent or whether you should buy. And you may say, well, I do want to buy in the future, but I know I'm not all together. And renting will give you that chance to do that. But again, with most landlords, you want to make sure that you have your credit together, that you know what your income is, make sure you've got those paycheck stubs available, that if there's anything that could possibly pop up on your background, you have taken care of that. And again, remember, when I say background, I'm talking financials. I'm talking about, are there any evictions? Anything that's going to stop you from getting this place? Do you owe any utility companies that's showing up on your credit reports? Those are the things that you want to think about. You want to make sure that you have in order. And the higher the score, the better your chances. And keep in mind, you can have a 680 score, 700 score, and still have a past due property management company show up on your report. So you do want to talk to somebody about, what can I do to get that taken care of? Is there a way for me to dispute it, to remove it? What can I do? Because you want to keep all of those things in order. Reach out to a counselor. Get this personal finance made easy. Again, great tool. Like I said, not only is it information in here about your creditors, dealing with your creditors, dealing with the budget, making a budget. It's a great section on your assets. What do you have that's of any value, and a way for you to make a list of it for you to have that with you when you need it. You can reach out to a counselor to get your own copy, or you can download it directly from Family Credit's website at familycredit.org. Call a counselor, 800-994-3328. So keep all of those things in mind, because really the only determining factor of whether you should rent or buy is your preference. What is it that you can afford comfortably? What area can you afford to live in comfortably? Does it work for your budget? And do you want to use all of the money that you have coming in your house towards your mortgage payment or towards your rent payment? And if you don't have enough money, or if you don't feel like you can right now, the only thing that you can do is increase your income or decrease your expenses. That's really the only ways about it. So if you've got any questions, again, feel free to reach out. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care.